Once we started this arc, it was very clear the general idea of what was going to be happening with Ignia and, you know, ideas of his vague squad. And then we started to kind of get into it. We got to meet Fire and Flame. And once we got into what seemed to be the opening that everybody was wanting and expecting, we had Faris from Earthland show up. And this was just a complete and total throw out of wild nowhere, because it is a good point that we hadn't seen the other Farises all within like the verse at the point. We did get a little information on the Edalus Faris. Makes sense why we would never really run into her. Like, it didn't seem like it was really important. And then coming over to Earthland Faris, and then Earthland Faris is like, hey, I know there's that plot point that people talked about of that missing Acnologia arm. Guess the hell what? Pulls it out, and then she's apparently running the numbers with black magic right now within the series, and she's expanding just general world information and world building, doing stuff with lore. It's been honestly very nice of Faris's existence in the series, and I personally have enjoyed her, because every single time apparently that she comes out on screen, she says something that moves aspects of the series in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in the current arc or stuff from who knows way back when. Like, is she gonna start like pulling out lore from the spin-offs and whatnot and start kind of intertwining those into the series? Like, who knows? Ferris, not only that, she holds a very strong position for answering, again, a lot of other questions within the series. Is she going to comment on anything about Natsu and being, E&D, anything with his Aetherius? Is she going to start pulling out further Aetherius? Because I believe that, if she's got this whole thing with Zero, who's to say who else she's grabbed and pulled into this? We could get, say, like, does she have Zankro's body? Is she going to show up with Hades's body? Are we going to get something crazy like Blue Note or Genma coming back for another round? I wouldn't be mad about that at all. I think it'd be really cool. It'd be sick if we had, like, just because you have like the Fire and Flames members, and I think Brian, I really like the idea of Brian coming back in areas, but he's further progressed, so he's just more powerful. So he is the character that shows the power gap, so you can look at like human Brian, first stage dragon Brian, maybe like the second stage, and then like full dragon form, something like that, and it would just give you the comparative jumps. He would be really, that would be like such a great thing for his character. Like, he would get to be such an important exposition character for the verse. He would get to be a story being instead of just like this crazy looking tattooed guy with a hat on. But Faris herself holds so much unexpected positioning, because whereas Ignia has done a lot in just expansion of dragon like influence and history within the verse, Faris is just showing up and saying, guess what, black magic is here and we're gonna be throwing down too. It's just it's a complete and total unknown corner that was added into this. And on top of all this, who knows how she's really going to play out in the long run? Is she going to be a Natsu opponent? Is she going to be an Igni opponent? Is she going to be somebody set up for Igni has another adversary besides Natsu? I think would be really cool if he kind of has like a villain main character role for a while with his own enemy, and we see it longer than we anticipated, of like the clash, instead of being Faris versus anybody, it's Faris is specifically dealing with Ignia throughout the whole thing, and that's keeping Ignia busy. Something like that. I don't know. It's such a weird, again, addition into the arc, because she just, like, there are inklings of stuff around the other Faris and around like the white mage and stuff, but we didn't have too much about black magic and its ties and everything. But this was all stuff that, again, an Earthland Faris, Acnologia's arm, we know about dragon eating, causing the effects that boost rapidly up to a higher stage in power. But she seems to be doing something different. It's like assimilated into her in a different manner, instead of, I would guess, eating it, just like absorbing it. But it looks like mechanical, but that's still, again, like a very questionable thing about what's going on with Faris. Again, she has just so much mystery around her. There's so much uncertainty, and just, I would imagine a lot of world exposition that will be coming up once we get to her actually expanding upon her her position in the story and what exactly she's going to be doing going forward within everything. So for me, I think Faris's character right now holds a lot of high potential. I don't really see anything outside of she is like this crazy wild card thrown into the mix of things, because even when it comes to her goals, she seems to kind of just be more like a chaos for the sake of chaos and like just wanting to spread the influence of black magic. As like, it doesn't seem like she's got this, oh, this other secret goal where I'm planning to, I don't know, I'm trying to find the I don't know, I'm gonna collect the other two Farises. I'm gonna fuse into Faris Prime, and I'm gonna have all of the Faris powers of black magic, whiteout magic, and very regular agricultural knowledge and farming. Because, well, actually, was she a gardener? We need to put her in a competition against Demaria and have them really get into a battle of vegetation. But either way, you know what I mean? She's just something kind of crazy extra that she pulls out. She probably will have something that we don't expect, like she has some additional goal. Oh, I want to experiment, and maybe she wants to turn the Celestial Spirit King into the Eclipse version and uses black magic to do that and turns into the Celestial Spirit Beast. And then it's a Lucy opponent later on. Who knows? There's so much that Faris can do. And Faris is funny too, because she has the same thing that I've like said about a few characters, like what I was talking about, like Viernes and talking about Duke, where especially sort of away with Celine, because Celine's was with teleporting, but just the ability to just make new opponents, just be like, okay, you guys are down, okay, let me just spawn in another person that I've also created, or, well, you know, it's just something completely plausible if you could take an old character and just either demon them, or she just has another Aetherius, because I don't imagine these are her only Aetherius, and she'll be able just to keep going in scenarios where it's like, it seems like you've now started to really win against her forces, and she's just like, no, that's not really the case. But as of right now, we're still relatively early in her lifespan, because everyone thought this was going to be more about Ignia, and then Faris just showed up and she just threw a complete and total chaos wrench into the whole span of things. But now she's facing off against Ignia, but they're just doing kind of this, I don't know, world boss flex, kind of, they're just kind of like messing with humans and then like eye glaring at each other kind of thing, kind of just doing like this smirk flex. I'm waiting to get to their fight, but I like what they're doing. It's just kind of funny that it doesn't seem like either of them are taking it too seriously right now. Obviously Ignia has his own plans, but Faris I don't think is going too crazy. I'm curious about her too, because out of the fact that, is she only going to have this arm when it comes to using Acnologia stuff? Is she going to start pulling out other abilities, like in terms of Acnologia based powers? Is she going to have a further progressed form, or is she just going to go straight into black magic and then like channel it through the arm so she can integrate it with dragon power and fight against the dragon? Interesting stuff, interesting just general ideas that she and relatively any of them are presenting into the verse, with everything around everything with Faris the Erasion sex, and just throwing it in there and saying, listen, if we're gonna have the Dragon King Festival, we have to have the proper Dragon King Festival, and we're gonna be putting some demons and stuff and whatnot in there. So other than that, tell me your thoughts about on Faris. This was mostly just a small little Faris rant. This was like my Faris opener. I want to talk a little bit more about her, maybe once we start to learn a little bit more about this Faris's backstory, or find out a little bit more about like her plans in depth. Maybe she'll have like some good conversations with Zero, and we'll see some expansion there. But other than that, comment below, tell me your thoughts are about everything else. Talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.